Hey everybody, welcome back to Quali-Tea time with Laying, and occasionally Fuzz. So, news this week. Well, I guess the first big piece of news begins with the wonderful appearance of this cubic fellow, which is courtesy of an incredibly belated birthday present from Dexanari, and also came wonderfully packaged with, for Fuzz, this apparently limited edition disapproving Meowchi. Which was then summarily removed of its tag and is therefore no longer worth as much as it could be in mint condition, but like heck, you're going to get the Fuzz away from this thing. Now, it's a new thing that I've been associated with foxes so strongly. It happened more or less when Witch in the Woods started, because Boa Illustration associated my character with a kitsune of some description, and since then everyone has just associated me with foxes, so the collection has grown over time. So I've got my tiny fennec fox over here, I've got a wonderful clay fox here, which is a wonderful, wonderful face. I'm very thankful this thing's lasted as well as it has, considering it arrived with a broken arm. We'll be super glue fixed that. I've got the 110% done, I believe Sam called this an action figure, but in England we wouldn't call it that, we'd call it just a model, or a figurine. Got a little foxy finger puppet here, and just the collection continues to grow. Just over here behind me you can see the stupid fox that I got for Christmas, and yeah, I'm getting so many now. I honestly don't mind it too much. I'm more of a cat person, honestly, but as you can probably guess from my choice of partners. But yeah, I like foxes. I would not have associated myself with them, but I can understand why people do. So that's our first piece of news for the week. The next piece of news is that I am officially no longer job seeking. I am completely off of job seekers now. I'm no longer having to peruse the classifieds and whatnot for any manner of employment, because officially I am a content producer now. Which I probably should mention, the Patreon still hasn't hit the 1200 mark, nor has it actually hit the 1k mark, which is for getting a P.O. box, so people can send this stuff to me without having to go via this strange, archaic route that involves tying your order to a raven. So that is now more than ever important that I get that publicized, so I probably need to start putting in more data about that in my other videos than just Night of Fangs. But yes, that's the first good piece of news. The next good piece of news is that Fuzz and I have found a place to move to, which means I'll be getting my own office, so you won't be seeing, like, the mysterious moving duvet and all sorts. You won't be seeing, like, this eclectic background, and I can do my streams completely regardless of how Fuzz is feeling on a given night. So all things should be grander there. So we've got the paperwork for that is getting sorted out. I'm getting the keys on Friday, and then I'm currently expecting that we'll move in sometime within a week after that. But that brings me to the next piece of news, which is that MCM is imminent. So London Comic-Con is happening from the 23rd to the 25th. I will be there all of those days, plus one either side, so that I can actually travel. I won't be there for the opening because I have been told that there is a cat cafe nearby, and naturally I'm checking that out. So yeah, hope to see people at MCM, and this is your final warning that I'll be there, so cheers. Also, I will be at the Yog meet that is being organized by Sparks Flame, so that's gonna be fun. On to the schedule. On Thursday night, we have Midnight Sticks, as always, from 11 PM BST, over at twitch.tv/lyinginbedmon. As always, we'll be playing Styx Master of Shadows, and I think I'm still trying to do weirdness with creeping through an area, but we'll see. On Friday, we then have XCOM, where I'm going fragment farming, which is easy if you know what to do, and that is basically kill everything quickly and without explosives, which admittedly is a little bit higher tier, but we're working towards getting some good guns, so yay. After that, on Saturday, we have another episode of World of Madness. I'll be working out what kind of plan we want for our dungeon. And we also conveniently had Dungeons & Dragon hats, which is from 9 PM BST over at twitch.tv/dragonhat. And on Sunday we have Edgington, in which we have an epic battle which had me on my toes the entire time I was filming it. And then conveniently on Tuesday we also have Undermine, with another epic battle that will probably have kept me on my toes whilst we were filming it. The Tuesday we'll also have Yog Dwarves Live number 37. Hopefully Twitch isn't going to be playing up that time, we'll see. And then on Wednesday we'll be looking at Oddworld. It ain't over quite yet, although I know it might look like it. There is a few other things to cover in that game, and I'm planning to cover them all, because it's such a fun experience. Infuriating at times, but fun. Okay, so now for questions. As always, these are drawn from the Quali-Tea time prior in the comments section, so if you have a question for me, you can leave it down there, and I'll hopefully get it answered in the video. We'll see. Our first question comes from Jackal of All Trades. If you were to receive a ton of edibles by mail, what would you want? Oh. Well, I suppose the obvious question is tea, but I get enough of that as it is. Let's see. Pocky would be an obvious one. More or less almost any classical Japanese sweet, or candy, if you're from the US. I would love to get a ton of that in the post. Obviously, you have to be careful of eating things that you just randomly get in the post generically, but yeah, that's a good bet. Beyond that, we have a ton of like classical English sweets, things like boiled sweets, things like fizzy cola bottles I like, things like just walk into like a corner shop here in England and you can find like a very generic class of sweets. I'd love to get a bunch of those in like a big tub or something. I probably will do for my new office, but we'll see. Bumbly Flower asks, which line has been your favourite to develop? The two that have seen the most development by far, at least so far, have been Priest-Lying of Yokai Temple and Witch-Lying of Carpenter Station, Chaosville, Witch in the Woods. The one that's been the most fun to develop would probably be Priest-Lying, because Priest-Lying takes place in the entirety of one series, whereas Witch-Lying goes across 4 of them. And I knew going into Yokai Temple exactly what I wanted to do with Priest-Lying's character, so I had a lot of fun just sort of writing that out and figuring it out and playing it and all sorts. So I would say Priest-Lying's probably my best to develop. There's a few different lines I'd like to try and investigate in the future. I know a few people want to see a cave line. I earmarked cave line for being a Terra Firma Craft series, but I don't know if that'll end up being the case. In theory, I could have gone with cave line for doing World of Madness, but I had a very specific idea I want to do with that series. Silly Jude asks, will we ever see more Flux Lying? I don't know. That is more or less entirely upon the Flux buddies Kim and Duncan of the Oxcast fame, because Flux is sort of their thing. As a character malady, anyways, as an actual concept, it's Foundcraft. But Flux Lying is not native to the Flux Buddies universe, so I don't know if it would show up in Flux Buddies, or if they'd show up in a different series entirely, just as the character that has Flux or something. But yeah, Flux Lying isn't really crazy so much. He doesn't really have much in the way of any kind of distinction with regards to, like, Witch-Lying is clearly evil, and Priest-Lying is very, like, kindly and all sorts. Flux-Lying is just less worried than he probably should be. He's a little bit reckless and, like, lacking in caution. That's basically Flux-Lying's defining characteristics. Lamps on Wheels TR asks, could you give a quick summary of the stories of the different lyings? Never Expedition Lying would be Oh Smeg, the portal's gone. Atlantis Lying would be Sure is damp down here. Witch Lying would be... what would Witch Lying be? That's a good question. Boo, I guess? Witch Lying is basically a well-meaning dude had a bad time and became much worse for it. And then Priest Lying is... everyone keeps wrecking my stuff. Night Lying is... this'll hurt. Nightlying would have to be a very short, to-the-point, blunt, this will hurt. And then, of course, there's the recently added dungeon lying, I guess, who I need to add to the lexica, who is pretty much, yes, you're going to bleed. But yeah, it's hard to, like, summarize entire character and story arcs very shortly. It's best to go and check out the actual, like, lexica, because I get a lot more detail there. Obviously, not all of the lines are there. Mostly, some people asked if I was ever going to add to Maid Lying, Cave Lying, and Flux Lying. There isn't anything to add currently. More or less the only thing that would be on their page would be their skin, which is why those pages haven't been filled in already. If they ever actually appear in a series for more than a split second, maybe I'll get some detail on them, but for now it's not really sufficient to fill a page. And lastly, Cyphorus asks, what do you like most about your appearance? I would say probably my ponytail is one of my favourite features. Someone did once ask me what would happen if someone was to sneak up on me and cut off my ponytail, what my reaction would be, to which my single word response was illegal. My least favourite feature is also fairly easy. I don't like my nose. I'm not really a fan of my nose. It always looks too huge to me. And my skin, if you've watched my videos, you can tell my skin fluctuates quite distinctly. Curse my family's genes, I guess. But that is it for this Quali-Tea time, so I hope you've all enjoyed. Next one is, of course, on Wednesday, as always, and I shall catch you all next time.